this is Myung Bondi for Hometown TV. I'm at the Greenwood Gardens in Short Hills for a private tour of this magnificent estate. After 5 years and $5 million restoration project, it has finally opened to the public. And to take us on the tour is the Director of Administration, Matthew Gundy.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. And the interim director of Greenwood Gardens is Liz Johnson. So I'd love to see the property. Can you show us around and tell us the history?
We're really delighted that you're here today, and I don't think you could have come at a better time.
Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous.
You know, everything is in bloom.
What a perfect day it is that you're here, and let us show you around.
All right, I'm looking forward to it.
Great, let's go.
I was here, I had the pleasure of being here for the opening ceremonies. Could you describe the festivities of that day?
Oh, it was a fantastic day. We had well over 1,000 people attend. The Princeton Cats and Jammers performed. It's the nation's oldest co-ed a cappella singing group from Princeton. It was a wonderful day, and the weather couldn't have been more perfect.
And I noticed that people were coming here and they were having their pictures taken in front of the statues and the buildings, and it's really going to be quite a destination, I can see. Describe for our audience the history of the estate.
Well, Greenwood Gardens originally was established in 1906 by Joseph Day when it was a private estate. He was a real estate auctioneer from New York, a true rags to riches story. And the peak of his career was in the mid-1920s when the estate was comprised of 80 acres. There was a mansion behind me, not the one that you see today, that was replaced by the Georgian revival in the 1950s. But the grounds employed over 40 people, had a number of water features and terrace gardens. And then by the 1950s, the estate changed owners as well as design.
Describe for us how it went from a private estate to now a public gardens.
The Blanchard family, who owned the property for the 50 years prior to Greenwood Gardens being established, it was their wish that this would become a public garden. In 2003, the property was given to Greenwood Gardens, a private nonprofit organization, with a goal to open it to the public.
With me is the Director of Horticulture of the Greenwood Gardens, is Louis Bauer. Louis, how proud you must be to be able to finally unveil this beautiful estate and gardens.
Well, you're right. Very proud. It's been several years of hard work, and gardeners have patience, but then we like an audience too, like everyone.
Well, 5 years is a long time, and you have been involved in every aspect in terms of the restoration and renovation of the gardens and the estate.
I have been able to participate in almost every aspect. We have a small team, so I think everyone can say that, but I have been here since the project began, so it's wonderful to see it come to this point and have the audience to appreciate it. As Matt described earlier, there was some restoration work. That was mostly architecture to put it back exactly the way it was. Gardens are a little bit more fuzzy around the edges, and we had two distinctly different kinds of gardening happen before Greenwood took over the garden to make it a public place. So we have done our best to be fair to both parts of its history. The earlier garden, which was probably at its best in the 1920s, with strong Italian architectural shapes outlining the garden, but with plants that kind of overflowed with lots of flowers and color. In the 1950s, a new style of gardening came with the Blanchards, and they had a much more limited palette, and the plants really formed the geometry of the garden. They planted hedges and straight rows of trees to form alleys, and it kind of it made it more geometric than it had been, really. And now we have taken away some of the plant geometry and allowed the plants to be a little softer and we've been revealing some of the old architecture that was covered by vines and trees. But we have an opportunity to show people how to garden now, how to use plants they haven't seen before, how to choose plants that the deer or groundhogs or rabbits might not bother, because we have all the same challenges that homeowners do, but we're not a park and we're not a corporate landscape. We really are interested in the plants and how to use them.
Describe this little bucolic setting.
Well, it's a little leftover bit of Gentleman's Farm. The animals behind us have been here as long as we have history on the property. The Day family had a full complement: cows, pigs, horses. The Blanchards had 2 horses, sheep, and birds. So we've remained happy to keep the ones that we inherited. And it helps the gardeners too, because we have a compost program where we put our garden refuse, and the animal manure goes into the composting program and back out in the garden to make everything grow. It's kind of a wonderful circular system.
So it really does serve a purpose.
It does serve a purpose, and it's a little bit of the past at the same time. So modern ecologic practices and a little bit of history mixed together.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, you're very welcome, and I hope you'll come again.
Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed our tour of Greenwood Gardens. It's remarkable that this magnificent treasure sits right in our own backyard. Come see and experience it for yourself. This is Myung Bondi for Hometown TV. Now back to the studio.